Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss Mission Impossible Fallout, starring Tom Cruise, Henry Cavill, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Sean Harris, Angela Bassett, Vanessa Kirby, Michelle Monaghan, and Alec Baldwin, and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. Now before I get into this review, I have to say, I saw this movie twice. Once in IMAX, once in 3D. Which experience do you think is better? IMAX. So let's get into what you guys should see in IMAX. Ethan Hunt, returned by Tom Cruise, has a dream of getting married to Julia, returned by Michelle Monaghan. And Sean Harris as Solomon Lane is marrying the two together, and that as a dream sequence was very weird to me. Ethan gets an assignment to find John Lark, who's the terrorist, and take him down, and I really like the setup. When they begin, Ethan brings Benji Dunn, returned by Simon Pegg, and Luther Stickle, returned by Ving Rhames, to help out stopping John Lark from releasing his deadliest weapon to date called the plutonium. And I like that plot, particularly since Ethan and Benji lose contact with Luther on the radio, and Benji throws the weapon to where Ethan is, or should I say the plutonium, and Ethan to where Ethan is, and that was a kick-ass way to start this things off. Alan Hunley, returned by Alec Baldwin, is putting Ethan on a plane to France from Germany to France. Meanwhile, Erica Sloane, played by Angela Bassett, who, don't get me wrong, I liked her in Black Panther, but I'm not a fan of this actress in general, because she bugs me half to death. Helping her out is August Walker, played by Superman himself, Henry Cavill. And I like him as that evil character, so Ethan and his team goes after the plutonium and find the White Widow, played by Vanessa Kirby, and she has very little to do here, but she works okay in this movie. Jumping out of an airplane to land in France is incredibly dangerous, but Tom Cruise can do it better than cars jumping out of an airplane in this particular movie, which is cliched to death now, but they pull it off here very well. We go to the club where Ethan finds the White Widow and has a meeting with her, but first, let's have a fight in the bathroom, which was incredibly intense. And if Ethan and Walker can't finish a fight against the Jackie Chan martial artist look-alike, then Ilsa Faust, returned by Rebecca Ferguson, can do it. And she's really badass in here, like in the last movie, I must confess. The White Widow wants to leave her party, and Ethan beats up the henchman of who wants her dead. And Ethan pretends to be John Lark, and they get Solomon Lane out of captivity. Meanwhile, Ethan is being tracked by Ilsa so she can kill Lane herself. And we land on the best motorcycle chase ever, leading to another car chase, which was an action-packed and spectacular moment of the film. It also looked like Ilsa took that hit very hard and well, meaning she's walking. I'll say that. Hunley is shocked to see Ethan and the crew with Lane, and they have a disagreement about who gets the plutonium and who puts Lane with the White Widow, who in fact was working with the CIA. And I hate that twist as well, as Erica betraying the IMF, and Benji pretends to be Lane, and the fact that Walker takes his eyes off Lane and almost gets Lane out of here, but turns out Benji was the one that was under the mask. And Erica fires Walker and have a shootout with Ilsa and with Ethan, Benji, Luther, and Hunley versus Walker and his goons. And as it turns out, Walker is John Lark, kind of. He wants to be a pretender. I like that reveal and that action, and Ethan goes after Lark by running towards him, and I love how Ethan is talking on the microphone while on a church-related thing is going on, and then Benji tells Ethan to jump out of a window, and we get that moment Tom Cruise breaks his ankle in the trailer, And running funny, that was a great shot. The sequence works on action levels. It was a great action sequence. After Lane and Walker escape Ethan, Ilsa, Luther, and Benji go to Kashmir to stop Lane and Walker from releasing an explosion. And who does the run into Julia and her new husband, Dr. Eric, played by Wes Bentley? It's Ethan himself. And I feel bad for him here because he barely is in this movie. But to play the thankless husband role, I do like him as an actor in general. I just think he's underrated here. Ethan jumps on the helicopter to go after Walker and almost falls to his death, which got me scared. Meanwhile, Luther runs into Julia and she helps him out with the cutting of the wires of the countdown, and Benji and Ilsa go find the other plutonium bomb that will destroy millions. Ethan drops the bag and begin the helicopter chase we have. I love the helicopter chase. It's probably the best thing about this movie, in my opinion. The Ilsa and Benji versus Lane fight was such a good fight, with Benji almost hung to death. I love when Ethan crashes the helicopter and the one Walker was on go towards him, and the way Tom Cruise just tries to take the seatbelt off, but it hits him anyways. That was a money shot for me, even though it was in the trailer. The Ethan versus Walker fight was fantastic and very intense. The way they do those stunts was just amazing. How they almost fall from a rocky mountain was just amazing to look at. And Ethan wins and stops the countdown from exploding, and the next thing you know, he's lying in a hospital bed to know everyone is safe, and is an awesome ending. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 8.9 out of 10. This is the best Mission Impossible yet, and I'm so happy to end on a very high note, and I'm giving Tom Cruise a credit for pulling off those stunts off very well, and I love how this movie was a fun, intense time from start to finish, and for the full 2.5 hours. And go see this movie. If you like spy movies and don't like Tom Cruise, see this movie. Bottom line, see this movie. And I'd like to thank you guys for joining me for the Mission Impossible series. And until next time, mission accomplished.